Very good evening and welcome to Bin-Cang on Cobra TV. This is the 27th of October. It's almost the end of a very long year, well, very long month, and of course 10 months into 2020. Certainly not the vision that we were expecting to have. Welcome to the show with myself, Rashid Saleh, and Dylan. This is one of two Bin-Cang shows that we have monthly. And of course, we have different type of issues that we will be discussing. As you know, tonight's is quite, even though it does seem like a very green topic to talk about.
Green topic. But, I thought you were going to say boring.
No, it certainly ain't boring. But the field is very much part and parcel of any rugby. It is probably one of the most important components of rugby, and is something that we'd like to educate and also share with those of you who are there thinking of not only maintaining a field but playing rugby on a field, because playing rugby on a field is very much different to playing other type of sports on a field. So before we do that, we'll just make some new announcements. All the new announcements. Of course, as you know, there's no training until further notice for all of us. The CMCO, of course, has been extended until the 9th of November. There is no emergency, thank goodness, but there is no training still until at least the 9th of November. So no training until further notice. The good news, however, is that the bar and restaurant will be opening from tomorrow, Wednesday 28th, from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. But please do follow the SOPs during this CMCO. Make sure that you do get yourself registered in and wash, use the sanitizers provided, and do please leave by 10 p.m. if you are, especially if you're in the area and you'd like to come over to the Cobra Rugby Club. Of course, I hear there's going to be the 31st will have the match between the All Blacks and Australia, and I think they'll be showing that at the club. But as I said, do follow the SOPs that are in place, and as much as you can, try and enjoy the bar and restaurant again. They do need a lot of support. If you like to know about it, please. There is, I think, a lunch promo, but do call 012-212-7000, ask for Mr. Boone, and he'll be more than happy to help you. Or email us at cobrarcwebsite@gmail.com, or go to our Facebook page and ask for more information, and somebody somewhere will come and help you out. That's probably like you, Dylan.
It's give it a try. Parking's convenient, location's good. Prices it's not steep. It's pretty decent portions for whatever you pay for, and then you get to see a bit of Malaysian rugby history since 1967.
That's right. A quick hello to Margaret. Hi there. How are you? I hope you're staying safe and healthy as well. Thank you very much for the message. Right. The topic we are going to be talking about is actually the field, and who better than the person who's been maintaining it and basically has had the run of the roost, or run of the field rather, and is none other than, he's been on the show before. He is wearing his Cobra shirt, so he's not going to be fined or anything, or go to Kangaroo Court. So let's welcome him into the show. Izan, how are you?
Hey guys, how are you guys? Looking good. Thanks for having me on the show.
How has your CMCO been in general? Oh,
having a lot of work to be done, and no running around. So daughter and wife. What else do we do?
You see that laugh, the sinister laugh.
He's actually, the CMCO has saved him somewhat, right?
Yes.
We're supposed to have a joint training sessions together to get to lose some of the belly, build some muscle. Because the CMCO, I can't turn up.
Yeah.
No, no, no,
CM5.
no, 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 no. I would love to join you. Okay,
Oh
but the
yeah.
problem is, yeah, Subang was locked down for a while because of some cases or something like that. So I just couldn't get out of Subang for a while. Seems like it's been lifted already. So should be able to join you soon, buddy.
Famous last
Looking
words.
forward. Looking forward.
Mm.
Well, me and Bud reckon that you know
Mhm.
a few sessions with Bud and you're gonna be looking nice and slick again.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
All right.
The
it's
last round.
moving on.
Yeah, the last round.
Right. So, of course, tonight's issue, or rather tonight's subject topic, is about the field, and the both of you actually have very much been heavily involved in the field. Now, of course, a lot of people know about the Cobra field and how it's been the state of field prior to what it is now, and let's talk about the history of a little bit of the history of the field, Dylan. Quick hello to Sai as well there in Germany. Hi, Big Snakes. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
That's nice, right?
The snake himself. Now the field. Of course, a few of us have been there for a long time. We've known what the field was like all those all those years ago, and I can tell you that now. I mean, Dylan and I especially, we've played on that field, and we know the state of that field prior to this. And what were your concerns? I mean, especially when moving forward to when you started Cobrats, was that something that was a concern to you, Dylan, when the juniors started playing on that field?
I think it's always been a concern even before the Cobrats. So, I mean, since 90 when I came to the club about 20 odd years ago, you know, the field has had its good days and bad days, and then there was a period of time where you play and play and then you walk away with cuts and bruises and they don't heal. You know, so it's not the most pleasant experience, you know, to play sometimes. And the field has shifted. If whoever comes now where the field is, I don't think it was ever there originally. I think when I came in, the field was towards the center of the whole location, right?
That's right.
And then it shifted to the far end.
I remember that.
And now it's come back to here, and you know, there's been many attempts to. There's been, you know, the field belongs to MBPJ, and MBPJ has done their part and has tried to rehabilitate and make it good and all that, but it's the property has not had the chance. You know, I'll give one example. They had one concert there, and that was the end of the field.
Livescape, wasn't it? They had a livescape event there, and that totally ruined the field.
You have bricks which they use to prop up the tents underneath in the ground, which they didn't dig out. Loose wires to tie up things all about. I mean, that's just one of it. But once it's gone, the chances of recovery, I think, in our experience, the last few years, you know, the field needs a chance to recover. And there was a problem because it was a public field. You know, where specifically for, say, football or for certain sports, suddenly someone puts up a paintball, you know, then the place
We
is
used
down.
to have that small futsal court as well.
There was
You remember that?
Yeah,
The concrete futsal court.
futsal
I remember
court.
that.
And whoever that puts that, they don't put any care on the field. So as hard as the local council does it, it's you know, they just use it, abuse it, and let somebody else deal with it.
Well, okay. So I remember the diseases that you could get from that field, the types of things that, you know, you get a cut. You know, usually you get a cut on the field. It'll take a few days to recover. This went on, like, you know, some went on for like months because of the things that you picked up from there. Now, Izan, when you saw the field, and of course when you approached to to rehabilitate the field. What was your first concern when you saw, when they first decided that the field needed to be where it was, but then you have your background, you're very much a man of with green fingers, anything to do with agriculture, fish, whatever, you were the expert was. And what was your first concern when you saw the field? What was your your observation on it when you first saw our field?
First thing I said to myself, what the hell am I getting myself into?
Oh yes, and cricket as well. They played cricket there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my first look at the place. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, I'm an agriculturist, so we've seen a lot worse, right? But the thing in between agriculture and field maintenance is actually the finishing. In agriculture, you can do anything. You can do everything very rough. It doesn't really matter because you're not looking at beautiful. You're not trying to set it up to be a taman bunga or whatever. But on a field, it's totally different. You're looking at the final touches.
No.
So, yeah, there were some very important key factors. We were lucky in the fact that there was already some form of base, with the underground, the subsoil drainage and the cambering of the field and stuff like that. But what was a concern was actually it was all placed in the wrong, placed wrongly in my view. The drainage was too far apart. Water wasn't moving. Some issues with the actual contour of the field as well. So it wasn't allowing water to drain properly. So so nothing that we couldn't handle. Just had to get down and dirty, I guess. We started off with identifying what were the main problems. It was a lot of problems. There were underground drainage.
Underground drainage.
Yeah, underground drainage that was clogged and not built properly. Not enough. Not enough slant. I will call it a slant. So the water wasn't draining fast enough. So we had to remedy that. There were issues of maybe 15 different grass species growing on the field. So that was interesting. Not to mention the species of snakes and frogs that I found there. It's very biodiverse. I would say.
That takes us back when we did one Gotong Royong session where we had all the round up together. That was the first round of serious grass cutting, really clearing.
Oh yeah, I remember this one.
You had a science background there.
Yeah.
In the
luckily, you can't see Sean's socks. So.
I think
Ali and Rio as well.
So that's us clearing all the stuff as we cut the grass. We cleared up, dug it up.
So yeah.
And that's where we found all the snakes.
That's AP White Sox there again, Rashid.
I'm not saying anything, I'm just not saying anything. So a lot of people were involved in helping it out.
This particular drive, I think Cobra should be really proud of themselves because everyone stepped up. Everyone showed up, and we literally did the entire. That's 1 acre plus another acre, so almost 2 acres in a day. We managed to clear up and mowed and raked, and there were trees around the field that was low hanging. I remember Daryl.
It was his pickup truck, right?
Yeah, sitting in the pickup truck and trying to solve these low hanging branches. So it was a super collective
effort.
Yeah, it was excellent. Yeah,
you even got the kids to do it for free as well.
Yeah. Slave labor, man. Slave labor.
Those are my boys.
That's what I was saying. It's like, yeah, free labor there. Okay,
But
so yeah, so
no, yeah, go ahead.
so Dylan, obviously, in terms of identifying, as Izan was saying, identified what were the main things that needed to be addressed and improved on. We How did we go about? Because as you know, I mean, in any club, any organization, the financial aspects of it is something that really needs to be looked at. How did we as a club, a lot of it obviously, needs a funding. So what was the approaches to that?
Well, we found someone who was generous enough to. We found a generous sponsor, I'd say. Not naming names at this. Not naming names. But I mean, even then, it's. I would say without. I would say with Izan. I would say regardless of the funding. I think if not for the expertise and experience of Izan, it would have costed way higher than anyone would expect. I remember when we did our first round of landscape grassworks, for our 2016 where we had the games on the field.
Yeah.
So
Cobra 10, right? Yeah.
the Cobrats that weekend. We spent a fair bit just setting up the event and the grass and all that, but it couldn't last. So
yeah, I've got the videos of that, but I can't find it anyway. I know where it is.
So now the thing is like, how do we maximize whatever we have and make sure that things are done right? So I think in this case we gotta. Well, I have a bit of. I used to do golf courses, so I have a bit of experience there. But I think generally is the guy on the ground, Izan and his bunch of guys who actually they put in what I think they were just on the ground. They were hands on. They knew where they discovered where the weaknesses are, and of course not rushing it. If you could, rather than dig a drain and put subsoil drainage, you could just slant it and then let the water run off, run its course. And then I think this part as well. I mean, we also we need to thank MBPJ for working with us on this. They pretty much, we got to be. Sometimes we don't give enough credit to the local councils.
Yeah. Well, also
Yeah,
I think it was also the TJ and the MBPJ. The PJ and TJ worked well.
TJ.
our man.
But I mean, it's a long-term relationship, right? We've been working with them. We've been together with them for the last 20, 30 years. And,
Years. Yeah.
the amount of, as a club, the amount of activities, the amount of things we do are actually, and it actually, we are basically what do you call it? A destination. If you come to PJ, Cobra for rugby-wise is a destination.
Okay.
But someone or a group, because I mean, as much as we had the funds, there's a lot of labor on Izan's part as well.
Yeah, and talking about labor. Yeah, you were saying.
No, I was just about to say. I mean, hats off to TJ. So the MBPJ guys on the ground. I mean, when they found out that we were going to do a little bit of repairs on the field, they came by. Things like giving us the original design of the subsoil drainage, for example. I would have had to dig up the entire field to find out where these drains were, but they stepped up. No problems. Don't worry. We'll give you the old designs, and true enough, it made life much simpler. So hats off to them. They really did an excellent job in helping out as well. So yeah, hats off to MBPJ, man.
I mean, another common sight, especially when the field was being redone, was was this. Not you, but the tractor. I mean, I remember when the tractor first came in, and everyone was so excited because it was, it really confirmed the fact that the field was going to be redone. So a lot of people wanted to go on it, but we weren't allowed to, and very very few people got to be able to do that. And then even during training, we had your guys were just we'd respectfully get out the way so that they could do their jobs, and no one complained, which was great. And I remember, when we had a game against Saracens. Do you remember that, Dylan? I'll show you.
Yeah.
So this is from the drone shot that we took, and that was when it was all slightly
It's
done.
a work in progress. Yeah.
Yeah, it was still a work in progress at this point of time. Yeah.
But it was so much better than what we've had it prior to that, and
Yeah.
the shot with the referee there, and it was so nice to see it from above and go, wow,
Oh, yeah.
this is our field. We hadn't ever had the field this good
Yeah.
before, and
I-
it was really nice to be able to be proud of it. I mean, of course, if we were given the same kind of funding that they have for the national stadiums and all that, my God, I think we would probably be.
It would be a different, a different side altogether, Rashid, for sure.
Yeah, but I can't remember. Did we? I don't think we had. Oh, yes, we did. We played in February, and I tell you what, no complaints from the legends, because it was really nice to be able to play on a proper field, our home field for once, properly, instead of trying figuring out whether there's any divots or drainage or any holes that you fall into and disappear, lose your boots, your socks.
Or playing in the equivalent of a paddy field.
Yeah.
I remember one very funny story told to me by one of the legends, and he said, every time you score a try on Cobra Field, you might get a tadpole in your mouth.
Yes. and you could be playing when it's raining and lose the ball because the ball is so muddy.
I can imagine. Yeah.
You won't be able to
lose
find
the ball
where the
anyway in
Yeah.
a tackle. Well, anyway, that's another story.
Yeah. So and this was when they were sort of playing, and again it was really nice and no complaints from anyone. Then you could really focus on playing rugby instead of trying to play against the field as well on your own home ground.
Yeah.
So it was very nice.
Nice drone shot. Actually, this is what I highlight to you guys. If you notice the small little trains to the left and to the right of the field.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, basically, this was marked at 70 meters wide. We can no longer draw the same kind of lines right now because it's a bit too close to the drainage. So currently we can only play 66 meters, which is well within IRP rules. So yeah, we won't be able to play the full 70 meters anymore.
I think everyone's pretty happy that we do have a working field anyway. I think the next stage is obviously, which we're going to be talking about, is maintaining this field. How has the maintenance been this past year, especially with COVID restricting our training in the padang and in the field?
Well, for the COVID season, of course, grass doesn't know that it's COVID. It'll still grow, So we have issues where I think it was in the beginning of March, March all the way to April, mid-April actually. We didn't get a chance to go in and clear the drains or mow it or nothing, So it became so lush that it took us usually a standard mowing day is probably about 5 hours for both the training field as well as the main field. But when we actually got back, that it took us 3 days just to mow.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's Well, you put in a lot of fertilizer, that's what happens. You know?
I remember coming
yeah.
back. The Love Me Nots made a return as well.
Oh, yeah. It's so
Love me
interesting.
nots. What's
Yeah,
that?
it's actually the mimosa plant. It's the ones that you touch and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then
So that one actually it overtook a lot of other grass, overtook growth, and we managed to kill it. We had to manually pluck it out of the ground. We had to mow again, and because of MCO, our routine of once a week we couldn't keep up with it. So here you have almost 2 acres of land, with 6 to 8 inches of lush grass. Even old Betsy, our dear darling Kubota, to adjust the cutting heights. We had to cut off the top first, leave it for a couple of days, and then come back in, lower the cutting height again, and then cut it again, all the way until what you see.
and
What you see.
actual snakes made their return. Actual snakes, not we talk about snakes. Actual snakes made their return.
Oh yeah, well, it is a cobra field, you know.
It's a cobra
Um, I'm talking about the whole field. Obviously, there'll be questions asked about what happens to the other side of the field, the football field. Who maintains that side? Because it feels very strange, the fact that we maintain that half of the field for MBPJ. What happens to the other half? Do we ever get requests by MBPJ to help out?
Well, we have actually helped them out. In fact, on two occasions, when they were organizing their junior football tournaments under MBPJ, we did actually get our Kabut and do a survey cut on their pitch and stuff. So yeah, we did actually help out, but currently it's being maintained in-house. They have an in-house contractor who does the outskirts of the field as well. So he comes in with a backpack, and two guys will come in and just manually mow it.
Now, Dylan, there's one of the things that, whoops, he's gone. I was going to ask him. I feel he'll come back. Okay. One of the issues that I suppose that we've had a running issue that we've had are our posts. That's pretty much one of the most, apart from the field, the two posts. It's quite iconic because it's been there forever. But we've had problems with it because it doesn't stand
It
on
doesn't stand.
yeah.
So,
Is that something to do? I'll ask you that first in terms of before we even talk about getting posts.
right.
What needs to be done to the foundations before we can put any type of posts
All
in?
right. You see, the current post, it works on a sleeve system. So there's a sleeve that's embedded in the ground, and then you have the post in the sleeve.
Right.
We've tried to stabilize the sleeve for many a times. There's few contraptions that I've come up with and tried to support it.
Right.
But every time, heavy winds and stuff like that, it tends to move and stuff. So I've never been able to get it up straight. So our next attempt would be to remove the sleeves and just plant it directly into the ground. That would actually solve a lot of problems. So,
Now,
yeah, I'm planning to actually do it in the next couple of days. If we get a
is there someone who we could do we need to speak to in terms of when they put posts up in for example at the national stadium, for example, where and they have that kind of thing. Welcome back. How do we who do we seek advice from in terms of finding out how to properly do it? Because as you know, the soil in our field is different to obviously different types of fields.
Well, at national levels, I mean, the specification is actually to have a sleeve system. It's actually to accommodate different usages of the field. For example, if you have a concert or whatever, you want to remove those posts in order to have these events. But at the same time, a lot of these issues, I mean, the same issue we're facing right now, it happens everywhere as well. But my plan was to remove the sleeves and actually plant the post in they want to use the field for another purpose. For example, it's a simple issue of just digging it up. So it's not really a big problem actually.
Okay.
So I had a chat with actually Cik Nan and Aziz and all that with regards to this from MBPJ. They said, no problem. I think you should be able to, as long as you don't build a concrete footing and seal the post up, we should be okay, right?
Have we still on the post, Dylan? In terms of the post itself, are we looking at maybe in the long run? I suppose the posts that we've had have been around for a long time, and it's not the straightest pole post that is around in Malaysian rugby. But are we looking in the long run to be able to either replace it or purchase new ones? What are your thoughts on that?
I think in the long run, it depends. In the long run, well, actually, I kind of like the posts as they are. It's like
it's got a lot of history.
Yeah, a lot of history. It's part of the signature. You don't want to gentrify it. You want the high end, classy high end. You go when they build it in Putrajaya. You go there. But if you want legendary classic stuff, come to the field. But I mean, it's like if it's to me, I look at it in the long run, we'll probably have to do something about it. And I think in the long run, well, the club is constantly evolving, making changes, and well, probably in the long run, there'll be a lot more than just putting up new posts. I can say that.
Well, because the question of people who've never been to the field and they see our posts, and it's always a safety issue. Is it going to fall on me, or is that a concern for us, Izan?
Nah, to tell you the truth, it's going to be quite impossible for you to fall on somebody right now. We've actually reinforced the intersections of the post, the center post, and the two uprights. We've reinforced it already. Plus, it's buried almost 4.5 feet into the ground currently, so it's quite impossible for it to fall. The only problem we are facing is actually because it's got a little bit of free play in between the actual post and the sleeve that's in the ground. Right. So we'll solve that pretty soon. Yeah. Every time the wind blows, I get a bit worried.
I know. Well, not just you, but people playing on it as well.
Exactly. But I must say, it's held up very well.
Typhoons and everything.
And I must say that actually that's a quality. It's pretty good quality rugby post.
I bet it's been around a long time. It's very sturdy.
It's very sturdy, and it's a full aluminium post.
Yeah.
It's costly to actually buy another one.
Yeah. Now, a quick shout out to Kana. Happy birthday!
Yeah,
happy birthday, brother.
So how old is he? I think 18. His 18th birthday.
I think he's probably celebrating his 25th anniversary of his 18th birthday or something like that.
Yes. So happy birthday to you.
Yeah. Kana's boy is actually one of he's training under me and Setan under the
union. Right.
He's younger. You got the older boy. The younger boy is with me.
I got the younger boy. Oh yeah. That's right.
Now, any of these boys wearing gloves or anything? Just like to question. No. Yes or no?
No, no, no. No gloves on
I
my team.
will say one of his players used to wear gloves.
It was my, yeah, I must admit, yeah, that was my scrum half. One of
Your
my
scrum
scrum
half.
half, Iman. Yeah,
I
that
don't know.
quiet.
I mean,
I don't
there's,
know.
somebody needs to answer at Kangaroo Court. A quick shout out to our to to Nick,
What's up,
of course,
Eric?
newly married as well, has a proper home now, and
Yep.
somebody cooking for him.
Yep.
Some more
Oh yeah,
Sarawakian,
somebody's definitely cooking for him, man. Oh yeah.
Sarawakian cooking some more. So no
Izan needs to
complaints.
join our training sessions. Sorry, Nick needs to join our training sessions, Izan.
Oh, does he? Oh,
Mm.
okay, okay,
Oh,
okay, okay,
really?
okay.
Has it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That kind of improvement, is it? Home
It's okay.
improvement.
It's newly married, newlywed. You gotta give.
Mm.
This happens to all newlyweds, you know.
Yep, yep,
There's
that's
an
true.
adjustment period.
I can't say anything, which is pretty much true. Because talking about newlyweds, because I before we do go ahead, you just mentioned that newlyweds usually sorry Jibrit saying hello, right? Dilan and Izani, Dilandi and Izani.
Jibri, Jibri.
Memang tak ada kerja lain. As I was saying, was this picture
Newlywed.
pre-marriage?
Oh my God. God damn.
Snake eyes is everywhere.
Oh God. That was almost 30 kilos ago, right? Yeah, I think
So before marriage, right?
yeah, that
Or
was,
just
that
newly.
was before. That was probably what, a month into us dating or some crap.
Oh, quick hello to Balu as
Oh.
well, Masrul. How are you?
Hey boy.
Rachel, OMG.
But the same smile though, still the same smile though.
Yeah.
Yeah, naughty boy, right? Naughty boy.
That's not me. Snake eyes. You see? Look, snake eyes.
Yeah.
Wasn't me. That was 16 years ago, she
16
says.
years ago. Yeah. It
Last
was.
Friday's show. Last Friday's show, I got featured. Snake eyes is everywhere, man.
Anyway,
Excellent.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving ahead. Of course, we have, because of this special relationship that we have, Dylan, with MBPJ. There have been a lot of queries, and I think we need to address this. There has been a lot of queries in terms of other clubs and other teams wanting to use our field. What's our stance on that, and what's our because we need, at the end of the day, rental is also an issue that MBPJ will probably need to address as well, even in spite of the relationship that we've had with them over the years.
Well, the thing is it goes like this. If it's for rugby, then generally you'd be able to have a chance to use the field. Except that we've had other teams, other clubs use the field for some of their games. But generally, as long as it doesn't coincide with our own activities, that's the understanding. It's got to coincide. If we're not doing anything, then the space is available. Then there's a likely chance. You just approach MBPJ and then get their approval from there, that's generally the route. But normally the inquiries that come in is never for rugby. So when somebody asks us, look, no, if it's not for rugby, then we're not going to entertain it. But it's for rugby, then yeah, for sure, because that's what we do. That's the tagline of the club, and it's all about rugby. We've had other clubs play. We've had some. Yeah.
We had the internal Tigers. The internal Tigers game. I think it was 3 games. I think last year in October.
Yep.
So they came in and Yeah, it was on a
And-
Saturday afternoon anyway, so we were not using the field.
And generally, because generally is that we'd ask for whoever's going to use the field to help contribute to the maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a lot of time, not just money alone, but a lot of time. So there's a lot of recovery work that has to be done after all these heavy sessions.
Correct.
Okay, so I mean, I focus a lot on the field, but we've also been blessed, Izan, with the other quarter of the field that's closer to the club, and we've also been given the sort of mandate to maintain that. How different is the maintenance for that of the training field? Because last time we used to, I remember the grounds was really bad. So we've also maintained that side of it. But how different is it, the maintenance for that training field compared to the actual field that we have?
We didn't have to put in too much work on that side. A lot of repatching work, a lot of cleanup work on that end. I am sure you remember the futsal little square, and we had the paintball operation, and they left behind slabs and slabs and slabs of concrete everywhere. So it was a matter of digging that up, and then um, um, more cleanup. And there were a lot of footings as well. I mean, I dug up, I think, easily about 16 to 18 footings that were 2.5 feet wide, three feet deep. So these things were almost a ton in weight.
I'll
And we
give you a better
actually
idea.
pulled it out. What,
This-
19 was it, Dylan? It's quite a lot that we pulled out.
there was a fair bit. 19 is a fair number, but it's not this. We're talking about blocks of concrete and then with
Yeah.
metal hooks that
That's
kind
right.
of stick out on the ground. But because the grass, there's a growth over it. If you run, these kids run. Be prepared to get your ankle broken or something. And this is what
Absolutely.
shouldn't have been there in the first place. And that's what we had to, we really had to basically comb the whole place inch by inch to find all these footings and get them out.
Exactly.
And of course we've used this side of training whenever we have mini tournaments, and lines have been put on it. How happy are you in terms of how safe the safety feature? Because we have lots of children and young adults playing on that side of the training field whenever we have these mini tournaments as well. So talking about what you discussed just now, is there a future of it being a sort of secondary, smaller field, so that smaller tournaments could be played on it? Izan?
You see, Red, that particular area has a lot of potential, especially on the junior side of it. It can actually hold three age groups easy, with a pitch each. And the current situation of that particular pitch it's a bit undulating. There's some dips and in that area. We just need to, technically, we just need to identify this and in my scope of work, there's something called top dressing, where we can actually run a machine across it. And we'll hollow tine it first, and then we'll get some fine sand, and then we'll lay the affected areas with fine sand. That will be a quick fix, something. If you want to take the more direct route, would be to fill up these areas with topsoil, and then this. So yeah, there are plans to actually do something about that particular area.
There's definitely enough space, and we've had games on that section before. When I think it was last year. Was it last year when we had the where we helped co-host KL Tigers International Tournament? We had the girls
Yes.
section on that
That was 2
Yep.
years ago. Yeah, almost 2 years ago.
last year, 2019.
Is it 2019? Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, it was the beginning of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Selamat malam
Hey,
to
how are you,
Abang
sir?
Asli. I hope it's
Abang
fine.
Asli.
Abang Asli. I hope Botak is recovering well and from his surgery. So we're looking forward to seeing you on the field again. Of course, to take photos lah. And also borak-borak dengan kita orang lah sebab kita pun tak main dah sekarang.
We're all looking forward to get on the field.
Yeah, everyone. Whether just to sit and watch, I think is more important by being on the field. Now, Dylan, this questions obviously will be for you. Now, it's something that we'll be talking about in a future show soon. Talking about the evolution of the club in terms of its our assets and especially the sports complex. Something that we're going to be talking about very, very, very soon. Now, in terms of the field, it's not just going to be rugby, is it? I mean, are we looking now, because we have now opportunities to be able to maybe offer different types of training on that field on different days? Is that something that we will be looking at? Because there have been queries, obviously, from people who are doing all those boot camps and stuff. Now, how are we going to find I wouldn't say an agreement, but something that will address that without ruining our field?
Well, I think one thing is whatever is a rugby field. So and the training field next to it. So obviously we gotta be. If anything, that you can't put any scaffolding and equipment on site. You can't have a van drive there and just you can't just have a van go around to the field, drop stuff off, and come off. That's what happened a couple of years back. And every time they do that, it just spoils the field. And every time they leave items there, or like scaffolding materials for their cross training or whatever they do, it damages the field. Whatever, all these things. So that's one of the things that anybody who wants to do anything, don't consider having any equipment on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But as a club, and of course what's going on down there. There are sports or training systems which benefit a rugby athlete. Basically, you build an athlete, build the base that is the foundations to be a good rugby player. So you training on field, it can be catered. But it has to be a rugby oriented thing. There's a lot of, what do you call it?
Cross training.
Cross training, but not cross training as in CrossFit as what the US want to do it, but cross training where let's put it this way,
complementing rugby. Yes.
Complementing rugby, because I was talking to one of our rugby boys who's but he was on our show. So he was saying that one of our rugby guys, Amma, who's like 5'4", 5'5" scrum half, he was deadlifting 80 kilos or something like that at his gym in Shah Alam, or something like that. So this small guy was deadlifting, powerlifting pretty much, and 80 kilo, and and to him that's like standard weight, and that's a standard rugby kind of weight that we all do, that sort of thing. And all those hardcore gym guys there were like, they were all amazed at this guy's level of strength.
And he's not the fittest one as well. I mean, he's fit, but he's not the fittest one. Yeah, and I saw him recently. He needs to go back to training as well. I think a lot of us need to go back to training. Anyway.
Yeah, but he's got no excuse. He's not a newlywed.
Yeah, well, I know. Not yet. I know, but this CMCO has made us all feel like newlyweds. Stuck at home, Botak saying rindu bau padang rumput. Kita pun sama.
Rindu.
Yeah. Especially, this start-stops MCO, CMCO as well. Oop, shots fired. Of course, it's a pre-birthday for one of our legends, Norman Dutton. Amnat, or as we call him.
Saladin. Saladin Iqbal.
Saladin. Where did you get that from? Oh my goodness.
That's what he puts on his Facebook.
I don't know. It's pure BS, that one. Okay, so 2021. Of course, we don't know when tournaments are. Let's look ahead for the 50th Cobra 10s. I know we'll probably do it in we'll be looking at the stadium, but in terms of preparation for training for teams, especially the Cobra team, to be training on it. And obviously, are we looking to try and get more league matches on the field? If there is a Selangor division, are we going to apply to have more home matches at our field? Because it's something that's been missing over the years. Is that something we want to have to look at? And how are we going to be able to maintain that?
I think that's a story of every club that wants to get on the field to play, right? So obviously, as it is, we can't plan. That's for sure. We can't plan, but we can look forward to two games that are going ahead. That's for sure. I mean, we got our young boys. We got guys. We got a very young squad now, and I mean, and I think going forward, I think there'll be just a long list of guys. Like you just send a message. Hey, Zach, we want to. You up for a game this weekend? The response is gonna be like, yes. A game will come on. But as for proper official league matches, I think TJ. Well, I mean, I'm sitting down with TJ because we're working because we're trying to get KRS involved with us again. We're trying to set up a training center for Selangor Rugby. Set up Cobra as one of the training centers. So that's one of the things that we're looking to do. So and then if it becomes a Selangor Rugby home ground, so obviously you'll get league games going on over there as well.
Yeah, but I think Selangor Rugby would be more than happy to. It's one thing going all the way to Shalam, playing our matches there, especially. But I do feel that we're quite central in terms of where we are in Selangor for rugby. That means more work for you, Izan. How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
How long does it take for a field to recover after a game, especially a full 80 minutes game?
Well, it's all the groundwork actually that determines that. Our field currently is a bit too soft. We put in a lot of organic matter, so the setback is actually the field being a bit too soft. So what we are planning towards the end of this year is actually to have a couple of rounds of top dressing with fine sand, and I'm trying to get a small budget going to get at least a 1.5 ton roller, because after every game.
No. Nom. You think he looks slim now? Look at this, Norman. This is slim. This is slim, Norm. This is slim, Norman.
Yeah.
You're saying.
Yeah. It's breaking my chain of thought. But anyway, yeah, we need this 1.5 ton roller to come in. Because the biggest problem with any field is actually to get rid of all the divots and especially the footprints. You see, footprints gather water doesn't drain off, we get soggy after that. So it's being weird.
Yeah. Sorry, distracting. Well, who's
that?
I don't know. Is Rachel with someone?
Yeah. So
Norman, remember when you had hair? You look something like that.
This is the club's royal couple. The royal couple, Izan and Rachel. Many things don't move. Ooh.
Oh boy. But anyway, yeah, we need to get in that roller and then get some. So once we have done this and getting the roller in, we can. I would safely say we can have 4 straight games, and then allow just a week of recovery for that. After that 4 straight games, so it should be okay. Should be good for 4 to 5 games.
That's barring rain and so. The drainage has been
Yeah.
excellent. I mean,
Yeah, so far it's all right. It's all right. You see, in between games, ideally you want to have, after a heavy downpour, you want to have the field rest for at least 40 minutes for all the rain to drain off.
okay.
Our field right now is, I've clocked it at about an hour, so we still need a little bit more work done in that sense before it's actually playable again. I think one of the reasons why the field was destroyed before, I think during the Cobrats, I think easily 20 games, I think, on that field. So yeah, it took a really, really bad beating. But
Wow.
yeah,
Are you sure it was 1 hour, or you waited 1 hour at the club? Did you?
yeah, it was about an hour.
There's never waiting an hour at the club.
No. I literally stood there in the field for 1 hour.
Yeah, sure.
I can believe that. You got your blue overalls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Anyway, this whole discussion has been it's been quite a scientific, very educational for not only for myself, I think for the audience as well. There's a lot of science involved behind it. That's why it was something. I think the field is very much a large part of our of our club, and we've been very lucky and blessed to not only have facilities at the club, the complex. We have the bar and restaurant, and also, priority usage from the field over these, last 30, 40 years. So it's something that, I think very, very few clubs in this country. I can't think of anyone who, who has a proper rugby club, not a sports club with a rugby section, but a club, except for Borneo Eagles, I suppose, in Sandakan, who have their own club and field, but without the history. But again, it's like having another brother, step brother anyway, because because of the IGM connection. So we're not really running away. Yeah.
Come on, the part of the coaching crew there are all Cobra guys, man.
Well, it was Cobras. It used to be called Cobra Sandakan. Remember, all those years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
If people can't
But they're
remember
doing great work over there, though.
Of course. With especially with Raimi as the GM. So there's a lot of rugby people who are there, who are doing a splendid job. And when I first went there, late 2000s, to cover the Borneo Sevens, I was so impressed with their field. I mean, obviously they've pumped in a lot of money, and of course having the floodlights was utterly impressive. But it's something that I don't know. Oh, that's the question. The final question I wanted to ask you, Dylan, is that something that we are allowed to have in terms of talking to MBPJ about having floodlights, or at least some kind of lighting, so we can have night training there?
I think verbally, we're working on it. I would say and so far there's been, I would say, there's no official yes, but there is no objection to it as well. It all comes down to the standard operating procedures. Because you basically got to haul equipment, cables. There's quite a fair bit of infrastructure work that goes in. So how much of that work, and then of course it comes back to the funds aspect, the money aspects of it as well. Because if you do that, then who actually, we can do it, but who actually is the beneficiary, the monetary beneficiary out of it? Because it is still an MBPJ field. It is a field under them but because of our relationship, because of the work that we've put in and stuff, so that we have come to some, we get that preferential, or that sort of what's the word you use earlier on?
Priority.
Well, we get priority over the use, and and so and this is past late hours. So it's another whole thing as well, which the council will have to look at, to study, because you're not talking about just putting up lights. It's accessible, but there's also the security aspects. There's a whole list. There's a whole checklist to look at, just to make
Not
things
to, not to mention safety and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Safety, the safety, security aspects, all these things come into play. But then one thing for sure, if there are lights there, I would say the field will be well more active, and I think you'll find a lot more. And I think in terms of just not active, not just on the rugby section, but on the football section as well.
Yeah. Well, we're just looking at the rugby section because at the end of the day, we just worry about our side of the field.
Yeah, but because the thing is, we are seriously looking at it, because it's not 20 years ago, maybe turning out at 5:30 is convenient, but nowadays turning up at 5:30 for training sessions is not.
Exactly.
There's a fair bit of commitment required. It's not that 20-minute drive down the road now with compared to 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even 10 years ago, for that matter.
Yeah. I mean, of course, Norman did highlight who pays for the lighting and then portable lighting. All that stuff has been discussed before, but it's good that we're looking in that and in that direction as well. Actually, on that note, talking about lighting, it is past the 1 hour mark. I know I want to leave this nice photo in your memory before we all go off as well.
Thank you very
to
much.
remind everyone, things that was before.
Well, on that note, I have to say, much like the field, is I think for whoever, for not just for the club or wherever club that gets the field, it's count your blessings. And like I said, so in this case, count your blessings, Izan. Don't take things for granted.
Agreed, sir. Thank you. Agreed.
I don't know where that came from. I'm surprised myself.
Norman said, "Love declared." You declare already. Hey, marriage don't have to declare or declare already. Norman forgot.
Lap already.
Tawin lotat. Okay. Oh my God, did I just say that? Okay. On that note, thank you very much, everyone, for being with us this 1 hour. It's been, like I said, very educational, very informative, and knowledgeable for everyone involved. And I hope that people don't take for granted about how much work is put into a field. I know there are many people in the background, and not just our field, but many fields around the country that have their own groundsmen, and I think a lot of them don't get enough credit for the work that they do. So we'd like to officially say thank you, Izan, as well, Dylan, for not only improving our field but making our field one of the most loved and well-maintained rugby fields, not only in Selangor but in the country as well.
I think
Thank you guys. My pleasure.
Then we gotta also acknowledge the MBPJ and TJ.
MBPJ, TJ have been and all the various people in the club who've chipped in their own bit to make this happen, because we're only not only maintaining but we're moving things forward now.
You can remember you look at the photos, right? The number of guys that got involved in just contributing to the club, and then the Kubota. We had a rotation of coaches and parents wanting to have a ride. Not too sure whether they actually wanted to cut the grass. I just wanted to ride the Kubota.
And you can charge.
Coin operated.
Hey, bloody pony ride, man.
Exactly. It is. That's why it's like so exciting. I've never been on it. I mean, the buggy is the buggy. That's like, it's a buggy now. Now it's like, that one is a cool thing. All right. On that note, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thank you very much, Izan, for coming on Bin-Cang for us. We hope to be able to spend a bit of time with you in the next few days somewhere nearby, since you're in our area now for the next 72 hours before your pass gets revoked. But from us, from Dylan and myself, thank you very much for watching us, and we'll catch you again for the next edition on Cobra TV right here. This has been Bin-Cang. See you on Friday. Bye bye.